Okay, everybody, let's bring the meeting to order. What we are having tonight is just a public discussion on the 3 items on the agenda here. And it's not an official council meeting per se, but the second Monday of every month we get together for a work session. And then we bounce problems off everybody, and so we'll call this session to order. Number 1 on the agenda is Amanda's going to take up parliamentary proceedings and review. Would you like to do that?
You asked for that to be on the agenda. I put it on there.
Yes.
Or I, I can
Yes.
do it too.
No.
So you don't.
No.
Everybody knows my.
So we had a lot of interruption during the last meeting, I thought once something comes up, we first and second vote it, and then something comes up and we discuss it. And I think we should discuss it first and then ask for comments after that, instead of going back and forth. I feel like we wasted a lot of time just kind of, and then things got mixed up and we had somebody on the phone and it was just all chaotic. I think we should maybe have it a little more streamlined.
A little stricter on.
Stricter on that.
We'll try not to talk over somebody who's talking. Everybody has something important to say and wants to say it.
Yeah.
They should have the right to say it, but most importantly, talking to neighbors watching us on television.
Yep.
And they're really having a tough time hearing anything. It's just too much. If there's more than 2 people talking, it's a mess. And so we really need to be careful about talking over each other. So with that.
Well, and then we have the time for the citizens to speak. We need to let them speak, and then they need to be quiet while the rest of the time, because then we can go from that. We can use what they've said and interject it into what their thoughts are and our thoughts, but their time to speak is in that window that you give them.
So
and
how can we speak in that window when we want to speak about something that's the last thing on the agenda? How can we do that?
Is items that are not on the agenda. They can bring up items for discussion that are not on the agenda. So after you guys ask all of your questions, you should open it for them to ask another updated question that they might have.
And then we have the same procedure where the answer, they're not gonna get.
Correct.
And next council meeting, we'll delineate that out in writing, so that everybody knows exactly what the rules are.
Okay.
And that will make it a lot easier. Scott?
I agree procedurally 100%. From an audio standpoint, audio quality standpoint, this room is very echoey. So when you are on the phone or trying to watch online, live streaming and whatnot, it is a horrible audio production. I would suggest from my experience in Pro Audio that we look into a relatively inexpensive addition of acoustical absorption panels for the room. That would take the ambient noise level down tremendously. And they're really nothing more than acoustical tiles covered with an acoustical fabric.
The school board meetings that every council person has, and they have to click in it to speak. And you don't get the speaking over of people.
That would help tremendously as well.
And then there would be one for a podium, so that's just
And that's what we
another
need to do.
avenue to clarify and get more
Yeah, that's good.
audible.
Along these lines, my computer is no longer supporting the recording and other daily factors of my job. I have to get my IT Logan to help me a lot. He found me 3 computers today on sale, about 50% off.
Yours is not working?
No, it works. It's just super slow and glitches and.
She does not have the right equipment to do her job, and I believe that it would be in the best interest while these $3,000-$4,000 laptops are on sale for $1,000-$1,200 that we invest in that equipment so we have less malfunctions.
I think we'll do that. We will do
I
that.
think, yes,
And we'll get something.
ever evolving.
How old is that one?
It was Kathy's.
Yeah, it's 5 years old.
More than
So
that.
it's,
8 years
it was
old.
probably antique when we got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay, that'll,
it's time to modernize.
next meeting, we'll put together a package with the sound and computer for everybody to review, and we'll see if we can take some action. That's all okay with everybody? All right.
Don't hurt to investigate.
Next item on the agenda is the installation of drainage behind homes on 134th Avenue from 6th to 1140 Northeast 134th Avenue. I guess start that conversation off, and then I'll hand it off to, I don't want to do that. What's the best way to do that?
I would like to start with the one question that Mr. Rosenboom had.
Okay.
Where's he at?
He's out of town. Can the city pay for something that is not on city property or have a city easement?
Why can't you have a city easement?
That's what Dirk to the engineer.
Yeah, you can do public, you can do projects on private property. The question is, who takes ownership when it's done? And just because the city is doing the project doesn't mean that the city has to own it when it's done. But that question needs to be answered, who's going to own this? If the answer is that it is going to be owned and maintained by the city, then the city needs easements to allow city staff to get on that property to do that maintenance. So the property owners that are affected by this would need to provide those easements as part of this.
So, why does, two parts actually to this question that are unrelated to each other. Why are we looking at stopping around the 1100 block of 134th rather than running end to end?
Goes downhill, I believe. Bill?
What's that?
If we stop at 11:40.
Well, see, one part of it, there's a tube already in the back that they're gonna use to run it, that runs to 69. And from that 1100 block, then it all runs down towards my place.
Well, well, agreed, there is definitely a topographical dividing line, continental divide, if you will. However.
And it's about, oh, pardon me, I'm sorry.
The east end of the neighborhood down there, we are so far unable to get an accurate tile map, and there is standing water back there. There is a problem that has affected both the farmer and the residents. And there is, visually you can see there's a tile inlet. You can also see there's a great big volunteer maple growing into it. We all, where it comes from, where it goes, what it connects to, we don't know. And we have not yet been able to figure that out. But there's also a problem down there.
And whose property is that
It'll be like Kinsey's probably.
Kinsey's, yeah.
The
exactly.
house on the corner, and then probably the first house west of the Stubb Street. That's kind of where the high point is, where when we had the ditches done, that's where Polk County surveyed the high point when they went each way. So it's kind of about those first 4 houses.
So the 1100 block, what determined that? Is that the high spot back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
The tile itself is located on, Dolly's property. It's on the farmer's property.
We talked about it before, from that high spot to the east, doing that after we do the low spot, that we got working. That was our next project, to address that.
He said it was pretty minor.
Yeah, he thought it was
Pretty minor to fix that.
think
Pretty
we-
minor. And
we'll
put that all together.
Yeah, it should, in my opinion, should be one.
Yeah, I want to get it all done.
Yeah.
Okay,
At the end of the day, regardless of, the problems that are there involve a lot of people. They involve the farmer who's the tenant, they involve the landowner, they involve our residents, they involve the county, because of the ditch situation along 69. There's all kinds of problems down there. And whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not, that's kind of the entrance to our community. Almost everybody uses it coming from the south. And it just looks terrible all the time. And I'd like to see this all get taken care of, whatever it takes.
First, I would direct the question to you, Forrest. You understand what we're talking about?
Yes.
It's all of the houses on the north side of 134th and the backs of their yards, right at their lot lines. There's all kinds of trees up and down the whole mile. And in the very beginning, when they platted, they didn't do anything with the farm tiles. And so that's created a lot of problems for a lot of the residents. Some residents don't have any problems, but a lot of them do. Flood basements, continuous running of sump pumps. It's just been a real problem, and it's, you know, to have everybody individually try to fix each individual is it's just not a good way to do it, and that's why we're here tonight. So I just thought I'd have some little background on that, and what your opinion would be on what we're working on.
I think that's a policy decision of the council. If the council decides to move forward with it and spend the funds, that's really council's prerogative to do that.
What we've been proposed with this map, have you seen that? He wants to put in a 12-inch pipe and run it down to the creek. So if he runs into 6 4-inch tile down there, is a 12-inch pipe that's gonna be the main drainage out of that, and they're all gonna connect into that. Is that gonna be sufficient to carry that amount of water?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, have you ever ran across a situation where you came on the field and you've got all these tiles coming in? What would be the formula to assure the council sitting here that that would be adequate enough to drain that out without causing any more problems, or artesian well enough because it's taking all that water, it can't take it, and it shoves it back and then starts coming back out, or creates another problem somewhere else? We're moving our problem down the road.
So are there any surface intakes in this field, or is this all subsurface?
This is all
Subsurface.
county,
Subsurface.
old 4-inch clay tile.
6-inch.
6-inch clay tile that was been in the field, and then is there any newer stuff that they put in
As
there?
for what he said, when I talked to him last fall, he said no. He put in one that was on behind Albright's house, when he took all the trees out. He put one in there, but I don't know where it ran to. He don't even remember where, he didn't even put the map it out. So he has no maps of what tiles are in there or nothing.
That's the tile that we were unable to locate.
Yeah,
So when you're doing subsurface drainage and there's no surface intakes, you're just draining the soil.
Mm-hmm.
12 inches is a pretty good sized tile for subsurface drainage.
Okay.
So, and I think we're only talking, maybe halfway between here and where we're sitting now? Is that about the size of the field it drains?
2/4. Well,
It's all this field right back here, all that field runs down to
Yeah.
the.
got a whole
Some
mile.
of this-
That's a mile.
So the full length,
Yeah, some of
the
this
full
field
length,
comes this way.
Yeah,
the full length would be
3/4 of it comes this way, 1/4 of it goes out.
2,052 would be the
3/4
full
this
length
way, 1/4 that way.
from the estimated. It's the same deal that I talked.
Quarter
So
mile with a 12-inch. It's a reasonable number, a reasonable size tile, I
Yeah.
guess. I'm not getting any red flags saying
Yeah,
that's
okay.
too big or too little.
Yeah.
Seems about right, but.
So on a 4-inch heavy rain, the surface water is gonna still do what it does, no matter what. It's coming down, it's running off, and then all you're addressing is the slow absorption down to the tile, and then it getting out of there, because now the tiles are clogged. So it's holding all that water that gets to that point and not draining is what we're dealing with.
Right. So if it's a 12-inch or a 10-inch or a 15-inch,
That isn't
It's-
clogged.
that isn't clogged, it's just, you know, how quick it kind of drains the
Yeah,
soil and,
So we're doing the farmer a favor.
yes.
No, not necessarily the
No.
farmer, is the property owners who are being flooded.
You're doing the
And
farmer,
both, yeah.
you're doing the farmer a favor too,
That future development.
and future.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, on this tile that you guys are looking, are you trying to drain the swamp with this thing? Or just make a place for residents to pump their sump pumps to?
You will
Because-
not have,
Both, and I would say that, wouldn't
No.
you say that it should have an opportunity to?
No, you're pumping
no,
water
you
uphill.
cannot,
There's no
they will not be able to attach their sump pumps to
Goes in
this,
there.
Okay,
because they have
we wouldn't need to, because
Utilities,
we're getting rid of the water.
No, no.
I know
All
that
sump
there
pump
was-
water's gotta go
You're
to
being
the
shot.
So you're looking at putting this tile
You get so much
10 foot down.
Well, whatever, however
That, we can't talk all at once again.
it'll be, fill tile we found, what, about 6 feet deep? And at his yard, so that's probably the deepest.
Yeah.
Up
6
at the
feet?
top, what was at the top?
6 feet isn't gonna drain the swamp, or
Can't
is
tell you.
Or I believe
But thing is, your
you-
tile, all the fill tiles will tie in.
I know,
So
yeah.
it ain't gonna go,
but you got, you know, the water table, you have to be below the normal water table in order to, you know, keep these, you know, help the person that's running his sump pump all the time.
Well,
So it's
what
6
is most
foot now.
important to me on this whole situation is that we don't have 10 or 20 different people coming up with different ideas. It's kind of like the project we're doing uptown here. We put our faith in the engineer, and the engineers will look at it, and then we'll follow their guidance. And hopefully, we'll tell them what the problem is, we feel the problem is, what the residents feel the problem is, and what the solutions can be, and then we'll put together a deal, so.
Because I envisioned, okay, well, they're gonna put a big pipe back there and everybody's gonna have to reroute everything and hook onto it.
It
But
won't
if,
be on their property, it'll be in the field.
okay,
Nobody will be able to hook up to
it. Yeah, and so then I sit there and was thinking of your deal and I'm looking at the water tables, you know, of, my neighbors and myself. And I'm thinking, you're gonna have to go deep with that in order to drain that swamp and lower the water table.
The field tile that they've already found is below basement level. One they patched is below his basement level. Okay,
It's 6 feet is not below my basement level.
it might be deeper every time,
but
no
you're
matter what house you live in.
Well, they were put in the 40s, so you're gonna have a lot of difference.
Yeah,
You know, but we know that, number one, water doesn't go uphill. And we know, number two, that you're gonna have to have a pipe to get rid of the water. And so that is where we would leave it to the professionals, that it gets put in properly and effectively.
Are we having you guys, are we having them do a study or try and figure this out, or what?
Well, that's-
I guess, what are
That's
you
what we
saying
gotta,
here?
that's something else. that
Because
we
I
need
am
to look at.
totally confused. I understand that we're talking about this, but how do we know that this is our solution and this is gonna help our residents and we're gonna pay all this money, and then what if we're just pushing the problem somewhere else? I think we need to solidly know that this is gonna work and what we're doing. I mean, I know we find tiles and we're having tiles here, but we don't know tiles here, and we don't know, and you turn that corner and it's like, holy cow, that is disgusting. And so we need to figure out
We-
something, but I think we need to do it the right way though. Not just,
That's right.
hey, let's throw
But we also-
$100,000 and throw a pipe in.
Also, Ted, the gentleman, the Tyler that was here, he's been working that field for years and years and years, and he hit it right on the nail, on the head, that he knew exactly what the problem was and how to fix the problem. And he was very, very confident that he could fix the problem. And I put a little bit of faith in that because
He's gonna lower the water table
Well, I just-
3 feet.
But does he only have the farmers,
Mhm.
right, like does he only have, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, we have all these citizens, but he's done the tile for the farmer for how long? You see what I'm saying? Does he
That is
only
my
have,
concern.
is his main concern is, I'm gonna get these people to pay for the farmer's tile, right? To fix the farmer's problem, and then whatever happens afterwards, the city has to take care of.
It's gonna help fix everybody's problem. That's what it's all about.
But the thing is,
I don't think it
Well,
is.
did you?
the thing is, this should have been done. when the
Lauren, I'm
pipe was
sorry.
done.
Let's wait,
All of a sudden-
Lauren wanted to, got passed over.
First of all, we're not responsible for draining somebody else's basement water, okay? The elevations of the tile that we're gonna be putting in are gonna be lower than probably all the basements on that 134th Street. That water level is gonna go down. Cause between by Bill's house and they go in that ductwork there, it's probably gonna be 8 or 10 feet in the ground at least. Cause the water, the pipe behind Craving's house is 6, 7 foot underground. By the time it gets downhill to where that corner is, it's probably gonna be 10 feet underground. That elevation is gonna change that much. Then coming from the other way, same thing. All these tiles they're gonna put in is gonna have clean outs. They can clean them out at any time, make sure they flow constantly. And we're gonna put rock around the tiles to help drain surface water down into the perforated tiles running out. It's not a fix for the basements. It's a fix to help get the water tables down, hopefully dry up some of this land.
Okay, can I tell you are, if you lower the water table, you will, help the basements.
Yes, it will.
No doubt about it. And I don't know the elevations from one end to the other, but, just off the cuff, I'm, 6 feet behind my house.
I don't know which house you live in.
Well, it doesn't matter, could have been any of them. Probably not deep enough, but that's for your smart people to figure out. I'm supposed to be taking notes for my wife. So I'm gonna say, we've got a 12-inch pipe to drain and lower the water table. And is that a true statement, people?
That's a true statement, we're encouraging them to do. Oh, you clear up there? Yeah. When we put that one behind her, that ground, when we find out the depth of the old existing tile, that's gonna dictate what the depth of the rest of this tile is going towards the west. Because we've gotta have 1% fall out of tile drainage, 1.5%.
You can go flatter than that.
Yeah, it's right in there somewhere. But when we get these elevations from the old existing tile, so the old existing tile will run into this one, and that's gonna dictate a lot of these levels.
Okay. But,
And they still gotta explore a couple more of these yet.
but a 12-inch pipe to drain and lower the water table is what.
It should be, yes.
Okay, and that's a true statement. Okay, so I've got it for her, that's all she needs to know.
Yes, that's gonna kill several birds with one stone here. Because when they did that regrading up there behind Bobby's house, they took all that dirt and made all them piers, or all them humps up. They robbed that field of some of that dirt, and that's why that one tile was so low. It wasn't very deep, because it took dirt on top of it. But when you get up here, back here where Bobby is, clear to the corner behind Moyer's house, that's all gonna run downhill. And we gotta find the exact elevations, but if it's 6 feet behind Craven's house, it was 7 feet in the ground, so I got a feeling that tile's gonna be down there quite a ways, so it should drain everything. It's not gonna get the surface water when the flash flood hits or nothing, but the groundwater will. But keep in mind, they're gonna put cleanouts, quite a few of them, in this run, and then this place goes alongside Bill's house. They get that elevation figured out, hopefully we can convince the city council here to do a horizontal boring instead of open cutting it next to your garage in that ditch. And that's gonna save us a lot of money, and then they can horizontal bore that underneath the street to get out into that creek and run out in the creek. So we don't have to open cut the street either. We're gonna spend a little bit more money doing that, because if we open cut it and we gotta replace the street, it's gonna cost us more money in the long run. See what I'm saying?
I get that.
So, what I'm saying is, when we go alongside Bill's house, we could have a 10-foot cut alongside his house if they open cut it. So that's why I want to bore it. So that's what I want to keep in mind. Because if you go that deep, and that footings on that storm sewer, it could roll that thing over. Then you can start over. So that's why I want that horizontally bored. Any other questions?
Does anybody else have anything to bring to the table?
Well, so these inlets or these tiles that we can identify, the procedure would be to find them, dig down, and locate them, and then have the tripod in there to tell you the depth. So if this guy is at 20 and this guy's at 10 and it's flowing the wrong way, how are we gonna address that?
Where are you gonna have this situation at?
Out there in the tiles draining down, because this tiler put his tile in at this depth, and this guy, or it was hard that year, and it raised up and created, so
You
is
might
that how
have to dig
you?
back a ways.
Huh?
You might have to dig back a ways to get it to flow.
The contractor is the one who's gonna be
He'll figure it out.
responsible for that.
Well, he just gave us a proposal, and there's nothing about clean
Well, no,
outs
that's
in
not,
any of
that's
this.
just a proposal, it's not
That's
a,
a
Yeah, well,
not a
so,
spec. I mean,
yeah,
it's a
well,
specification.
usually somebody that's been doing something for 40 years would have clean outs, and
And he
It
knows
is
about,
purple.
he knows his business, yeah.
We talked about all that.
Okay. Anybody else? Do you have anything to add?
The only thing I would say is, maybe Jim has shared this already, but your bidding laws, so you need to be under 82,000. If you're under $82,000 for construction costs, you can hire whoever you want. You could hire this contractor if you wanted to. If you go above 82,000, then you need to get two quotes.
Too close.
So do we need to get specifications from you, I guess?
No, you wouldn't have to.
You would
just-
have to.
You just need to get two quotes
Right.
if you,
I guess I just wanna make sure that we are actually correcting that problem.
We're right at 40,000, right?
Working with us.
I mean, what I'm reading is you're under 82.
Right, yeah, so as a city engineer, though, do you think this is gonna correct the problem?
I mean, if all we're talking, that's why I asked a question about surface inlets, and we're not trying to solve an overland drainage problem, anything. If we get a heavy rain, 2-3 inches, this isn't gonna solve anything. But if we're worried about, the swampy areas and getting that standing water out of there, then yes, this will solve that.
Well, there's some houses up there that if their sump pump would quit working, the basement would flood even if we had a whole dry summer.
Yeah, and this isn't gonna solve that.
That ain't gonna solve
As far as sump pumps,
Yeah.
getting rid of sump pumps,
If you get it deep enough and you get a big enough pipe, it will.
yeah, and so now so $25,000 later, we can engineer this thing.
Right, I gotcha, yep, so,
A lot of it's subject to
so again,
definite
I think
styles.
we're solving the homeowner's problem.
well, we are solving the citizens, but everything from the creek, all the way, all that Detmer stuff, in between Detmer and 134th, that's all clogged from trees. Because this tile that's put in the 1940s was designed for farm ground with no trees. The trees grow down into that tile, clog up the roots, you blow them out, all you did was get the roots out, but that root shoved that tile or crushed that tile, and it's a continuous clean out, bi-yearly, maybe you get by for 3 or 4, but on dry years, them roots go right down there to where they can find moisture.
So
That's-
as
that's
far,
a killer
as far,
model.
as far as the depth goes, I mean, so we're talking 6 foot deep or some depth along the north edge of all these properties. So if your house is up here,
Yeah,
and your basement is 12 foot deep, as long as your first floor is 6 foot higher than where the tile's going, you are deeper than your basement. Things aren't flat out there, so just make sure,
Get that.
okay, as long as,
I can visualize this stuff.
okay.
One other thing, guys, if you're looking at putting inlets into this tile, now you gotta go back to this 12-inch probably ain't near big.
No inlets.
No inlet.
No inlet.
no inlets yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
We don't know, when we test this and find out what's going on.
Clean outs are a different thing. If it's just a
Clean
clean
outs
out,
different.
that's not an intake, that's just they have a cap on it.
I just,
You see
you know,
it's just a little orange, like
Yeah.
field with the inlet.
Yeah.
You don't do those?
No. If you do that,
Uh-huh.
then if you do those, then that's a surface intake.
so we're not going after any surface water whatsoever.
know.
I wanna make a note for my wife there.
Okay, is there anything else, people, like I said, we don't wanna talk over each other, and is there anybody have any other comments?
Well, there's a few questions actually about the bid that was proposed. The numbers are a little chaotic, if you will. They're not linear, you can't just follow along. They don't make it, they're not perfectly clear. Along with Perry's point, there's nothing in there about cleanouts on this bid. It appears, now I could be wrong, but it appears it looks like this job is being split to get below that cap of 82,000 and having to get another bid. Now, I don't see it being a big deal to get another bid, because that doesn't cost us anything,
Yeah.
right? But, I mean, what we need is some clarification on this cost estimate.
Yeah, we're a ways away from that. I mean, by the time we get right down to.
Did anybody talk to Mueller about easements and,
I talked to him,
That's a little
About it.
preemptive.
he doesn't mind it, he's for it. He'd give his easement for it. Or give you guys easement for it, I guess.
yeah, well, it's all us, we're all the same.
Scott, to answer your question, total overall is 81,000. That is the number that I was verbally given, and if you look at it, you'll be able to, there's 80,000, that's gonna be with the boring under, the concrete waterway, and then $1,000 for, crop damage.
So that's
If-
plan
if-
A,
If there's,
because there's plan A, B, C, and D.
That'd be plan A, west side plus east side is 80,000.
On the very back page.
yes.
Yeah, that's
So
what,
to do everything that you see on the map,
so,
plus the crop damage, that's
so what are the
81,000.
phases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
That's
I can
just
read
if you
that.
guys wanted to split it to do certain sections of that map, I believe, but I can't speak to that entirely, because I wasn't directly
Parts of the
involved.
process.
I wasn't directly involved in this process or getting this quorum, so.
I did have one final question unrelated to the budgeting of it. Perry brought up a good point about the tiles that were designed for farmland, or the ones that run through the estates. That the people's sump pumps are hooked up to, and things of that nature, that have proven to be difficult as far as getting tree roots in them and collapse and multiple materials that have disintegrated and deteriorated over the years. Now, just to be clear, this doesn't address any of that. We're still gonna deal with the cleaning out of those tiles on a probably annual basis, semi-annual basis.
Well, hopefully when that comes through, they cap off the top end of that continues through down to them. And then the stuff that's on before that, they're getting rid of all that. So that's the proper way to do it, is my understanding.
Oh, I agree.
to cap it off, but yes, no,
So
you're gonna
all
keep all that water that was coming down out of there, but you will still have the same problem.
But not
Some
as
pumps will
much,
still be
we ain't gonna have
running
near as
into-
much.
No, you're gonna eliminate whatever, 70%, 80%, who knows?
Yeah.
But you're gonna, water drains,
80% of what?
That's why.
the farm fields come draining
To the
into,
back of your house.
Anything else?
I didn't see anything here about after the digging, any kind of seeding on the ground, putting it back the way you got it.
Landscaping, seeding.
Oh, there we go.
You're good.
Yep, thank you.
Okay,
Just
no
gotta make sure we
other,
have-
Oh, yeah.
questions, comments? We can, I'd entertain a motion to,
No motion.
no, don't even need a motion.
Just
Have a nice night.
I will,
Wait a minute.
I know.
if you guys don't go with the board, I will allow you guys to dig
Yeah.
through my yard,
Restoration.
but we're gonna put it back the way it was. If you guys choose not to bore, I would like to have what that side ditch is put back the way it is right now.
So, yeah, that's a
Trees.
given.
And that's a given. I
No.
don't say that's a given.
No, you need that in writing.
Yeah.
And we need something from Muehlenthaler in writing, giving us the okay. Or it's a big fat no
I'll talk
for me.
to him,
Yeah, we need something in writing that,
I'll go talk to him.
Yeah.
Please.
If you
It's
guys,
his
if you
problem.
guys write something up, I'll take it to him, I'll visit with him about it, if Lauren wants to go with me. I don't,
yeah.
I mean, I got.
And get his thoughts. I
got a
wish he
good
was here.
Relationship.
I wish he was here.
so-
Okay, the other thing is, Logan, you're out for your report, you're the third man out here.
Oh, I have, I don't really have anything new,
Everybody?
And now.
Everybody, no, Logan, come up here, Logan.
No, nothing. So that's you up.
Come up here, Logan. Speak loud.
Here's all your comments, and then down here, it's just, but there's no number, there's no.
All right, Logan, go ahead.
Alright, I really don't have anything new, we got, tentative pre-con meeting, that we expect to have third week of June.
What's that?
Pre-construction meeting.
Pre-construction meeting for
Up
up
here.
north.
Yes, we've talked about it at multiple meetings now. Most of, everything on my report we've touched on at every other meeting. I've got inroads scheduled, I've got, the street cleaning scheduled. We've already gone over the tile mapping stuff, we've already gone over the tile repair that we ran into a dead end. And then, the, usual maintenance that we do, annual maintenance that we do on the tile, just no concern other than a little bit of agricultural material in there. So we're sitting pretty.
What's the date they're gonna start digging?
Be up in the 4th of July.
Yeah, it'll be,
I don't
yeah.
have a date yet,
Okay.
but after the 4th.
Did we address the outlet? What, are we gonna do anything with that, or?
What outlet are you speaking of?
I
Going,
don't know.
west out of town, where all this water's
What are they talking
gonna end up where it's going now,
The
but
construction going to town.
Perry, that was-
Roads, ditch
That was already repaired,
about? Year then?
on a joint project with the water authority, first year I started.
when that tile was broken.
Yeah, that was like
in
a $25,000 project.
Kinda changing the dynamics of things. I just
So
wanna
that
make
is-
sure that that's still gonna be, adequate for the water that we're gonna be taking that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a couple of years old. And that was a project that we were able to get in with, the water authority and free to the city, so we're sitting pretty on that.
Very good. Have a nice evening, everybody. Thank you, Forrest, for coming up.
Thanks, Forrest.
Stopping
We
by.
got,
Bob.
we
Yes,
got a
sir.
question real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just still on this drainage line. So I'm assuming you're gonna have perforated pipe to take the
Perforated
groundwater
rock
away.
Written proof.
Well, yeah, the holes are only on the bottom side. But that's
Except for
that's
going
your
through my
plan,
place, it's gonna be
is
solid
to
there.
lower the water table, take all
Get rid of the water.
that water from the field away.
I would recommend that if you directional bore, between the houses, that not be preferred.
Yeah, it's gonna be solid, that's
what
what,
we talked
that's what he
about
said.
already, Yeah.
running north and south is gonna be solid.
Okay, all right.
So we got drain line, drain pipe. What's the difference between drain line and drain pipe?
Nothing.
It should be saying perforated,
Well,
if that's what you're putting in.
We don't want perforated going on.
Thank you, Barry. You leave that up to the council if they want perforated or solid.